Good evening, everybody. I want to apologize for making a video in the dark. Worked a late shift today. It was President's Day. So I came in to cover because this is, for those who are not familiar with my videos, look at some of my other videos. You can see how I dress. I dress like a Hasidic rabbi. I guess because I am one. I don't know. Maybe not. But I was tonight. Why did I work a late shift? Because usually our Catholic deacon works the late shift. I'm the supervisor of the department. I work in a prison as a supervisory chaplain. And I oversee, the whole department. So I was there tonight because it's a holiday, and my coworker, who I supervise, so my employee took the day off because it's a holiday, and I decided to work. This way I could have Yontiv off. Why should I take a Chaga off? My kids are at school. They all have yeshiva, It's one thing on Labor Day, the kids were off work, so the kids were off school, so I spent the day. I didn't go to work. But today, all the kids were at school anyway, so what am I doing? Why shouldn't I go to work? And not only I went to work, but so what was I doing? I was there in place of the Catholic deacon so that the Buddhist yogi could come and teach the Buddhist guys. So it's only in America where you have a Hasidic rabbi who's overseeing and making sure that the Buddhists have their program, and I'm there so the Catholic deacon could have his day off from work, which I appreciate, that he gets to have a day off, enjoy a day off. He deserves it. He works very hard. He fulfills that what it means to be a deacon, which means to be a servant. That's what he does. And we saw my friend, the Indian chief, also another one of my employees. And, again, it's only in America such a thing. Of course, they're not my employees. They work for the state, but I'm their supervisor. That's only in America, such a thing. Anyway, so here we are, President's Day. I want to share one story for President's Day, but before I share the story for President's Day, I want to give a little bit of commentary. I would actually call Mark Levin and share this with him, but I didn't. But I think the things that I heard from him and from some other people, actually someone who, the last caller, was calling from right near where I work, maybe 2-3 miles away from where I work, calling from the same affiliate station. And Mark Levin was talking about how his parents were, they were college graduates, but they didn't have their PhDs. They worked hard, had their own business, and worked with their hands, he said. He said they opened up a preschool, a nursery, and he said his father built all the toys himself, built all the chairs himself because they had no money. He did it all from scratch. And eventually they made enough money that he was able to open a retail store, and they ran the store. But he said that he didn't have a guaranteed income. If nobody came to buy, they didn't make any money. And this at the left, they're talking about raising the minimum wage to $15 an hour and so forth. It's not so simple, right? And Mark Levin was talking about how his father was a man who worked with his hands, and his mother worked with her hands. She made her own clothes, all kinds of things. and yet they were highly educated, well-read people. They didn't need to go to school for that. They could on their own open up. So I don't even remember who he said. Basquati, I don't remember what he said anyway. But he said, well, if he's waiting for a customer to come in, he's going to be reading something on a very high intellectual level. But he wasn't an elitist like these, college professors from Harvard and Yale. That remind me of the joke from Svengoolie. I'll have to share with the deacon. He'll like that joke. They were people who were self-educated, like Lincoln was, like Edison was. Lincoln, his whole education as a child was the Bible and Shakespeare. And he became a Lincoln. He didn't need all these different subjects and this and that. He was able to become Abraham Lincoln. Because it was so reingekriegt in the Beine, like we say, it was in the bones, it was in from his mother's milk to be an educated person. But you didn't need to have all this, programming and everything. It was on your own, but you were able to become somebody. You're able to become an Abraham Lincoln. Thomas Edison, they kicked him out of school when he was a kid because they said he was addle-brained, and so his mother homeschooled him, and he was able to become a Thomas Edison. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. That's not our subject right now. The reason I'm bringing this up is because someone who apparently wants to be president of the United States, Mike Bloomberg, not one of my favorite people, was caught. I guess they found they found his old, a lot of problematic things that he's said over the years, and they're bringing it up now that he wants to be the president. And one of the things that he said was, it's not that hard to be a farmer. You can teach anybody to be a farmer. All right, so you dig a hole and you plant a seed. What's the big deal? But to be Chvez, I don't even know what he was talking about. Whatever else he was saying, that takes, not everybody could do that. But anybody could be a farmer. So Mark Levin played a recording from Paul Harvey, the late great Paul Harvey, talking about how God created a farmer. God needed this and that, and so God made the farmer. And the description, I can't do justice to that. So then, apparently a shtickler neighbor of mine, at least a neighbor of where I work, called up and talked about how his father, who passed away in 2012, was a farmer, and how he needed to be a veterinarian, a bookkeeper, an accountant, he needed to know science and math and everything. It's not just you dig a hole and you put a seed in. All right, this is what we heard on Mark Levin. A lot of people heard it. I'm sure there are people who are listening to this who heard this. So why am I repeating what Mark Levin said? There's no point in that if you heard it already. So what does Joe Kolakowski, the Koblenzer of, have to say about this? So what I have to add to this is what I remember in yeshiva. So I went to college also. Condemned courses. I went to Touro College, but it was in Lander College where we had I remember I was telling a conservative rabbi once who was hanging out at Or Sameach when I was learning at Or Sameach. He was saying that, don't go to Touro College. You need to have the experience of being at a dormitory, and you're going to go to Touro College, the night school. You're not going to have it. So anyway, the Touro College I went to wasn't the night school Touro College. It was the residential campus life Touro College. So I went to that Touro College, to Lander College, which had just begun at that time, and he didn't know about it. This conservative rabbi. Anyway, so Baruch Hashem over there, we sat and learned all day, and in the afternoon we had a little bit of college, and maybe a little bit at night. We also had a little college, but mostly we're learning all day. Most of our college credits were learning. From 120 credits for the BA, and I got really 156 credits. But we'll forget about the extra 36. But the 120, so 60 credits were religious studies, 30 credits was psychology. It was a bachelor's degree in psychology, right? Really more than half the credits, because I got more than 120 credits, were in learning Gemara and Shulchan Aruch, Plus, we learned other things that maybe we didn't get credits for. We went to Chaburas and Chasidus and Musar and things. Not everything was for college credit. No. And then we had another 30 credits that was general studies, and part of that was Jewish history, 6 credits. So really, for the undergraduate degree, 120 credits. So it was already 66 credits were Jewish, right? Anyway, why am I talking about this? So one of the guys I went to yeshiva with, I actually see him once in a while because he lives not too far away from where I work. And actually one of the other people that I supervise is a Chabad rabbi who works together with this guy who's a Litvische younger man. And his father is a farmer. And we were roommates, this younger man and I. And he said to me, everybody else here, they're not going to college to learn anything. They just want a piece of paper. So you can get a job. He said, I have a job already. I'm going to yarshin my father's farm. He has a successful farm with chickens and kosher chickens that are sent all over America, Anyway, he said, I'm here in college to learn business, to get my BA in business, not because I need a piece of paper to get a job. I have the job already, but so I can actually learn something that's going to be useful. You understand what I'm saying? It's deeper than this, what we said, meaning to say the guy like me, all right, so I want to be a chaplain in a prison. Eventually, that's where I found, and I'm very happy. I love my job. So I needed a BA. So I needed a piece of paper. But the farmer, he actually needed to learn something. I didn't need to go to college to learn something. I could learn everything I wanted to learn. And I just need the piece of paper so I could get a job. He had the job already, but he actually needed to learn something to do the job, to be a farmer. That's a big statement against the nonsense of this Paskunyak, Mr. Bloomberg there. All right, I promised you a story, Lekovid, President's Day, even though it's already after Tzeisa Kechavim, but by the Umas Ha'olam, the Laila Hilach Acher Hayoim, so it's still President's Day. Yom Ha'Dayan, Chaga. Story for President's Day. I believe the story is by Rutherford B. Hayes, if I'm not mistaken. Which, if you go to Monroe, the big Bismedrish. It's right off. It's on Hayes Court, right? Anyway, Rutherford B. Hayes. It was a Maisa by the time of Rutherford B. Hayes. You can imagine that time was the 1880s, right? There was hired for a government position in the federal government, Ayida Shomer Shabbos. Can you imagine those days in America in the 1880s? Ayida Shomer Shabbos given a job as a federal bureaucrat. I don't know what the job was exactly. I don't remember. Anyway, he said, I need Saturday off. They when they realized, they said, no, you can't have the job. You have to work on Saturday. He said, well, I ain't going to work on Saturday. The word got to Rutherford B. Hayes, the President of the United States. And President Hayes, He said, if a man is willing to stand by his convictions and his religion and his ethics, that he's willing to give up such a good job, that shows he's really honest. And that's exactly the type of man that I want for such a position. Let him have off Shabbos. You give him the job. That's a story for President's Day. Because President's Day, I know it's really about Washington and Lincoln, but because they put those 2 days together, so it's for all the presidents. And I love Washington and I love Lincoln. And they were much greater presidents than Hayes. But Hayes had a big schus that he was able to, I guess that's the schus that he had, that it's such a choshev medrash is there on Hayes Court, named after him. That's the schus that he had, that he helped the Yid be Shomer Shabbos and gave him a job, not just he wanted to be Shomer Shabbos and he gave him the job anyway, but because he was Shomer Shabbos, that was why he was zoichet to have this job. It's a big thing. So thank you for listening and watching a little bit now that we have the lights on a little bit. God bless. Please like, share, and subscribe, comment, and we'll see you all later. Thank you very much.